one. Hey, everybody, it's your main man, Jaleel Mans, here again with the Marketing Velocity Podcast, where you get the speed and direction you need to market your business correctly. Today is a very, very special episode with my good friend and professional, right, Dio Adiemo. And she has a show, My Mental Health Matters. And the reason why I reached out to her for this special episode was because I understand the struggles of the online entrepreneur. I know how easy it is to let self care sometimes slip away into the background. And so I wanted to make sure that we address those issues so that we can all stay healthy and happy enough to continue to market our businesses successfully. So, Dio, would you love to introduce yourself to our tribe here, our audience?
Yes, thank you for having me. I appreciate this.
The honor is all mine.
I appreciate it on two levels. That you have me on your platform, and most importantly, that you, as an entrepreneur and working with entrepreneurs, taught that it is important to have mental health as part of the package of progress and productivity. I appreciate that. Who am I? My name is Dyer, and I'm a mental health practitioner. I'm a psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner here in Texas, and I just love to call myself a mental health advocate. And all that I'm about is increasing mental health awareness and decreasing mental health stigma. So I'm glad to be here.
Yes, I'm so happy that you're here. I think that last Facebook Live that I caught, you had an expert from the UK present, Gareth,
Right.
and we talked about, PTSD and PTS and how that affects, military veterans specifically. But, we also talked a little bit too about how that affects, police, EMTs, firefighters, anyone who's really been in the face of danger and had traumatic experiences.
Mhm.
Um, and so, I think that light bulb moment just went off, and I was like, wait a minute, how come we're not talking about this in business? That would be interesting. And so, I mean, I'm not really sure where to start here. You know, how, how can we as entrepreneurs, and some of us are online, some are not, but how do we manage that? How do we manage our mental health and administer self-care when we're in the trenches running these businesses for 40, 50, 60, 80 hours a week? How's that possible?
Yeah. So here's the thing. You're like, where do you start from? Let's start from ourselves. Let's start from who we are as individuals. Like you said, we talked about PTSD in the military, and you're like, why are we not talking about mental health in business? But here's the thing, before our profession, before our career, before any other thing that we are human beings first. We are a person, a human being with different parts of our body being controlled by one very important part, which is the brain. And everything that we do, how we feel, our career choices, our entrepreneurship, our personality, everything about us comes back to this one organ, which is the brain. So, every one of us, everybody listening to me, you and I, we are human beings first, and we can decide to fall into different categories. I can choose to think about, let's talk about mental health and being a woman. And you talk about, let's talk about mental health and being a man. Let's talk about mental health and LGBTQ. Let's talk about mental health and whoever we want to be. But today, focusing on entrepreneurs, we are talking about people who are one of the world's innovative people. Entrepreneurs are creative, they are high functioning, they take risk, they have high energy, high expectations, they are resilient. And one important thing that entrepreneurs have that keeps them going is their passion. But with all that quality, some other things we also have in entrepreneurs world is a high level of stress, anxiety, burnout, frustration, unmet expectations, the social media demands, pivoting, losses, gains, balancing the numbers. All those things come into the world of entrepreneurs. But in all that, how do we take care of ourselves? Now to your question, what can entrepreneurs do? Well, the first thing is realizing that your mental health matters. Your mental health matters. As an entrepreneur, all the hours, all the income, all the profit, all the dreams and goals, expectation, deadlines, all those things has to start from you understanding that your mental health matters. When you know that, the next thing to do is to prioritize it. And how do you prioritize your mental health? It's knowing little things. Now, Janelle, I'll tell you, a lot of people will, if you think I'm going to talk about exercise, eat well, diet, and, relating with friends and all that, that's not where I'll start from, because from my interaction with people and from experience, a lot of people know these things. But it's not easy in the world of entrepreneurs to just say, oh, I'm going to take a walk, I'm going to do this or that. There, there's a question I would like you to ask yourself to guide you to prioritizing your mental health. And that question is, at what cost? What is your entrepreneurship costing you health wise? What's the cost? So, you want me to go ahead, or do you want me to just build up on that?
Well, I was taking all of that in because that was deep. I mean, you were talking about prioritizing, and it wasn't something that I realized in myself until I reflected back on how I started a business. And I spent a lot of time, in the business and almost absolutely no time for myself. I found myself getting up early to make it the chamber networking events, and then I would meet people and we'd make deals. And then I'd go home and I'd write contracts and send those out. And then somehow once I was outside of my regular business operating hours, I
Mhm,
was up doing the work because it was just me. And
mhm,
so over time, it started to lead to, habits that people weren't aware of. People weren't aware of, that I was smoking a lot of cigarettes. I was drinking alcohol in excess, right? And so there was no self care in that plan in the beginning, and I'd adopted a lot of the wrong mindsets. Some of my friends were saying things like, I'll sleep when I die, or, a hustler stays up and works ridiculous amounts of hours.
mhm,
And it took a moment after reflecting on all of that to
mhm.
say to myself, I don't think that that's how Oprah Winfrey operates, or Bill Gates, or, you know, Richard Branson. I'm just, taking guesses here, wild swings, but I don't believe that that's how they operate.
Yeah.
Because as you said earlier, being an entrepreneur, being high functioning, and, being driven by passion, um, is not going to keep you healthy. It's not going to keep your body healthy. It's not going to keep your mind healthy. Um, and you're not going to be able to um, give your customers or your clients your very best because you just don't have that to give, right? It's not left in you. And so that, everything that you said kind of sparked all of that in my mind. And I was like, I actually had to decide to make time to schedule my needs. And
Right.
and previously I used to schedule, I use an automated calendar. So it's, if you have one of those links, you can schedule time with me, and it happens, right? People schedule
Mhm.
with me all day, every day. My calendar fills up. And then my biggest challenge from there is, where's that time for me? A friend of mine
Right.
calls and he wants to go shoot some hoops. Well, I just don't even have it on my calendar. And so
Right.
what I ended up doing was I flipped that model, right? And
Uh-huh.
then I started putting my doctor's appointments on my calendar first, and my automated calendar blocks those
Those.
times, right?
Right.
Spending time walking my dogs, playing with them, throwing the stick, throwing the ball, It wasn't, my dog ran away a few times, and I was thinking, wait a minute, he's running away because I didn't train him. And I didn't train him because I didn't spend time with
Didn't
him.
have time. Now, okay, so now there's the question. What at that time that you were starting your business, what were the things that it was costing you? Let's talk about them.
Oh, well, that's a long list.
Okay, so let's reel them out.
Yeah, relationships,
One,
Yeah, that's one. My physical health,
two,
mental health.
great.
I mean, those are top three easily,
Top three, and those are the top three that I focus on. And when we say what, this is what I hear entrepreneurs, some of my clients that I have the opportunity of treating or talking to when I go to speak somewhere or do a consultancy for organizations, is that they go like, everything is okay. I don't feel depressed, but there's something missing. There's something missing. Or they're like, I'm just really stressed. But guess what? I can't leave all this thing to people. A lot of it falls on my shoulder. I just can't step aside. What's it costing? The cost of a successful business should not be any of these three things. Should not be your health, either physical or mental. The cost of your business success should not be your relationships, and it should not be at the cost of pleasant memories. And I'll break this down a little bit. The health part is the physical and mental. Now, you would agree with me that a lot of people still take care of the health, the physical health part to an extent than mental health.
Yes, yes, indeed.
Indeed, because it's not like you read your numbers and the blood pressure is high. You can't tell somebody my anxiety level is 50 over this or something. Nobody, it's relative.
Right.
So we don't think about mental health as we think about physical health, but some all together they are interwoven. So for health, you start seeing we have issues like sleep deprivation for entrepreneurs. You have agitations because when you're sleep deprived, you want to do this and that, you start having fogginess. Your brain is not just sharp. You get into the meetings or you want to do stuff and there's problem with your thought process. And from there, it start manifesting in your behavior. You become irritable, you're snapping at your team, or you're just, detached, or you're not catching up with what you need to do. So there you go with your productivity. And there you go into your profitability, and then it starts going on and on. But when we're talking about the numbers, which everybody knows, all entrepreneurs know, the numbers tell you volume, tells you volume. So you're like, the number is not adding up. But the thing is, your health is not adding up. But we're not thinking about all of this strained relationships, all this, the stress, the pressure, the burnout. That's not what we're thinking about. So the success of our businesses should not be at the cost of our health, physical or mental. But for mental, you have to be really intentional about it. The second thing is relationship. This goes two ways. If you're having problems with relationship problems with your either your partner, your parents, your children, or even your team, you really can't go far because it impacts your health, your emotions, whether or not you acknowledge it. It's there. And the other side to it is that what you're doing, your business, is also impacting the health of your loved ones. Like you said, your dog ran away. And you're like, okay, that's your pet, is there for you. You're supposed to take care of him. And now relate that, extend that to a partner, extend that to parents, extend that to neighbors, extend that to the people around you. When the relationship is getting strained because of your business, it's also not healthy. And when those things are affected, how do you create memories? How do you create fond, sweet memories? How do you create that time? Do you have to remember other than your business? And that's where that feeling of, I'm not depressed, the business is going okay, I think everything is all right, but there's something missing. There's a hole. I can't place it. There's something going on. It's because there's something wrong with either one of those three things.
Yeah, and those things are really important. one of the things that I realize, and it comes to, comes to my attention often the older I get, is realizing my mortality, right? The older we get, the more we lose friends and family, and so, I think back sometimes on their quality of life, and I think of family members who should be enjoying their retirement, but instead are still steady, in their 60s and 70s, pushing for, business goals and revenue goals, and they're missing out on opportunities with their children and their grandchildren, and that's something that we can't get back. It's not something we can hit a rewind button and say, okay, I'm going to go back and I'm going to do it right this time. I promise I'm not going to mess it up. But those are those precious moments that we can't get, and it's tragic.
It is. It's tragic. And then, this same here, the tricky part is you really can't measure it. You really can't see it until you prioritize your mental health. It's in prioritizing mental health, putting it where in its rightful place in our life, our families, and our business, that we're going to start picking on those important things that we can put in place to be a successful entrepreneur altogether. So that's the tricky part of it. You can't just see it. And sometimes when people are telling us about it, you're not, if the mindset is not there, if you're not seeing it as valuable, if you're not seeing it as something that you need, you don't even when they're telling you, you miss it. And that's why today I'm focusing on, hey, entrepreneurs, like with your business, whatever group you belong to, because I put entrepreneurs into three groups. You're either just thinking about it, and for those who are thinking about it, there's some actions you will soon be taking. Either you're resigning at your job, either you're moving away from your family, or you're relocating, or you're pivoting. There's something you're about to do because you're thinking of becoming an entrepreneur. So you belong to that one level. And there are a lot of people thinking about starting a business. So many people, and you know that. And the second group, the startups, you're just starting. You've taken that bold step already. You're doing it. You're trying to bring your dreams to life, your passion. Here you go. You finally said yes, and you're diving into it deep. You're not about to fail, so you are putting your all into it. There's a great level of stress that comes with that group too. And then the third group are the group of established successful businesses. You already mentioned two of them today, like, oh, that's gonna be the way Opera is doing it. So those people with for the real, well established, well known global business owners, the stakes are higher. But remember what I said at the beginning, we're all humans. So Opera, whoever we look up to in our business, whoever the model is, whoever we are aspiring to be like, or to exceed, they are all humans first. They are humans with a brain. So the pressure, the stress, the demands that comes with whatever level or group of entrepreneurs that you belong to, it's high. It is so high that you cannot afford not to prioritize your mental health. And I'll talk about how we can do that shortly.
I'm looking forward to that. I'm sure quite a few people in our audience are looking forward to hearing that.
Yeah, yeah. So how do you do that? You have to. I would say I have this blueprint that I call the PRP Blueprint. It's a pause, rewind, play. The pause, rewind, play is the blueprint that really lets you know where you are and what to do next. Because, like you said, there was a time that you weren't doing some things, and now you're doing them, and now you're in a better place. You know to now automate your doctor's appointments. You put it on the calendar. So you're at that level. There's some people, they're not even thinking about it yet. And we have some people like, I'm thinking about it and I'm trying to do something. Whatever level you are, it's good for everyone to pause right now. And I do this even myself on a regular basis. You were talking about our show last week and my guest and things, and every time that I have the opportunity to talk about mental health, just I did it again today. Like, hey, I'm talking about mental health. How am I doing? I need to really check some things. So it's in the person that you're really able to start the work that will take you to your optimal mental state. Pause and think and ask some questions. There are three questions you can ask. How am I doing? How are they doing? And how is work or business or your company, whatever you're doing? Those three questions under the pause level will open your eyes to a lot of things. And the how am I doing part is to check yourself against the yard of, oh, physically, how am I doing? Am I stressed? Am I tired? Am I just pushing myself? You ask yourself, what's my why? Why am I doing this? I'm so passionate about it because some people, when I meet some people, or either during treatment or just during networking events or wherever I go, and they're talking about their why. Some people's why is coming from a place of pain. It's coming from a place of this happened to me or this happened to my family, and I'm trying to do this. So it's from a place of pain, and so that's what's driving their business, their goals. Whether it's realistic or not, that's what's driving everything they're doing. Ask yourself, how am I doing? What's my why? Am I trying to prove something to someone? Only you can genuinely do that. Pause and ask yourself those questions. How am I doing? How are they doing? Who are the they? Remember when I talked about relationships? How are they doing? My family members, my friends, my co-workers, my team members, my mentees. My circle of friends, my social circle, how are they doing as it relates to you? Because if they're not doing well, it's probably affecting you and you're trying to mask it, but you really can't move forward if you do not acknowledge it. Or are they being affected by your own work schedule? Are you the absent father? Are you the absent mother because of your business? Are you the we call something presenteeism in the workforce, where people are there but they're not really doing anything. They're not being productive. So are you the mom or the dad or the friend or the girlfriend or the fiancé that you're there, but your mind is still with your business? How is your business and how everything is going? How many hours are you working? How is it affecting them? That's the how are they question. Then the two is the third one is, how is my business? How is my business as it relates to mental health? Do you have a toxic work culture? What's your process like? How do you relate to your customers? What are your customers saying about you? Asking yourself that question under the pause level would really open your eyes to a lot of things. And it's from the pause that you rewind. After the pause, you rewind to find out, okay, where is this coming from? What happened? Where did something go wrong? What can I do? Is it a childhood trauma that is influencing all this? Have you been disappointed before? Is your business pattern because of past disappointments? Is your system because of that? Rewind and think, where did this start? I've been stressed. I haven't been sleeping a lot. I've been having nightmares. I've been feeling dejected. My ego is easily bruised. Then go back to, when did this start? Oh, I dated that girl and she told me I wasn't enough and I'm trying to do this. When you rewind, you try to kind of find out what's going on. And it's based on your questions, your honest questions to your pause, and when you rewind, that you're going to press your play. And the play then has to do with, the play would be one of three things. You're either doing something to address what you've uncovered, or you're doing well, everything is great. I'm doing all I'm supposed to do. I'm taking time out for myself. I have all these things that I'm doing. Now I need to continue. And what can I do to make sure that I don't stop somewhere down the line? Then you continue. And the third part is, you really just need treatment. because there are entrepreneurs, there are business owners, there are leaders. Entrepreneurs are leaders. Whether you're a solopreneur or you have a team of 1,000, you are leaders. And whatever is going on with you affects everyone. But there's some people that we're all human. There's some people with mental illnesses. There's some people with unaddressed issues. There's some people with personality disorders. And you are trying to manage your health and your business, or you're not even managing it, or you don't even know there's something going on. You just know that you're not functioning well. Either you have an underlying anxiety disorder, or you have attention deficit disorder, or you have even sexual dysfunction. There might be something going on. Then at that level, you go for treatment. So I'll recap this. There's the PRP blueprint. You pause, you rewind, you play. When you pause, you ask yourself the three questions: how am I doing? How are they doing? And how is work or business? Ask those questions, answer honestly, and then you rewind to when did this start? You might be able to figure out just what to do. You might be able to trace, something, how it went wrong or when it started, or rewinding will give you better insight into how you got to where you are. And then the play would depend on the answers. You're either having to do something, you're either having to continue, or you're either having to seek treatment. That's how I believe that entrepreneurs can really prioritize their mental health. It is not just stay active, eat well, exercise, social, relate with your friends, call a friend, do this. We can do those things temporarily, but if we don't have that structure, the foundation, and knowing why we're doing it, it's just only a matter of time before we slide back to where we are.
I love that. The PRP, pause, rewind, and play, and it's a simple and effective framework or blueprint, but it doesn't work if you don't use it. And so I want to encourage everyone to use it, try it, start it, because you're important. Your mental health is important. It's not something to be taken lightly because it just affects every aspect of your life. And so you have to take action at some point. And today may be that day. I hope today is that day, right? I'm sure Dio hopes that today is that day.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope that today's that day. And here's my call to action. Here's my call to action. Do something. Do something. One of two things you can do right now that I want you, as you're listening to me, and that I do it right now, is the P square. I call it the P square. Pick one of these P's. You pick a day that you dedicate to either your family or yourself, or just the day to pause. Pick that day. So right now, as you're listening, I want you to say, okay, this is the day that I'm picking. And if you can, send it to us and say, I picked Monday. My day is Sunday. If you catch me posting anything on social media on Sunday, it's probably a song that I was listening to and dancing to, and I thought, hey, maybe somebody wants to dance, or I don't really do anything. I just leave that day. And I also committed to not doing a 5 hour day work week. I do Mondays to Thursdays. I have Fridays free. At least it's not for work. Even if I'm going to do something else, it's not work, so to speak. And now the second thing is you have to put something in place for your work. Put something in place for work. You need a mental health culture. And your business, you have to dedicate a day, pick a day. I mean, you pick the day that you are going to commit to your mental health. And the second thing is you do the pause that I talked about. You do the pause today, pick a day, Just have that day. You need that day. You're an entrepreneur. You're probably overworking yourself. You are stretching yourself thin. Either you are, just thinking about it. You're about to resign. The great resignation is going on right now with the pandemic. Everybody's resigning everywhere. And guess what? A lot of people are resigning to start something or to join a company or to, like, oh, now the opportunity is there with social media. You can do this and, do social media marketing, use the CRM or so that the great resignation is going on in the corporate world. And guess where they're coming to? They're coming to you, Janelle. They're coming to you.
They are the herds of people breaking corporate chains are flowing endlessly, and it's huge. I myself escaped from the restaurant industry, and one of the reasons why Friday is one of my days off is because actually I did PRP, but I didn't think about it. So I paused, right? I was working so hard and I said, this isn't fair. I left my job so that I could have my weekends. I could stop having those sad calls with my friends when they say, "Hey, we're going to a concert. It's Friday. You going?" "Oh no, you've got to work. You always work every weekend. Sorry, man." And then so I said, I'm working way too much. I rewound and I played that back in my head and I said, you know what? What am I doing? I'm the CEO of this company. I don't have to ask HR for time off. I don't need to accrue PTO. Like I have all the vacation days I need. So why am I not doing that?
Yeah.
And so then I hit play and, I honestly, full disclosure, I will from time to time if there's a an active deal on the table and they say I want to pay you right now. Sometimes I've done that.
Yeah.
But generally, freeing up my Fridays open up the door for me to try new things like oil painting and just spending more time training my dog. I had no idea how smart he is.
That,
Prince is a genius. Like
right?
and so, I get to spend times with friends and family and, cooking for them. I still love cooking
Good.
and socializing. And that stuff means a lot to me. It really does. And I'm glad that I took that moment, even before learning Dio's, blueprint,
Yeah.
to actually just do something, like she said, just to do something, to take action and
Mhm.
just do it. And I'm so glad that I did. And this is not the end of it. As a business continues to grow after 12 years, and I've had my 12 years of trauma and my celebrations at the 5 year mark of making it more than most people, right? We celebrate victories, whether they're small or big. I celebrate those the same. And
Right.
so, I really just can't thank you enough for everything that you've shared. I can't thank you enough for your, community involvement, the organizations I've referred you to and things of that nature. I just love that because you said, how am I doing
Right.
and how are they doing? And I know that they are doing good because the they that you're exposed to, that
Right.
you expose yourself to and your knowledge to and your expertise,
Right.
I know you're changing lives every day. And I know you feel great about that.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
I do. I do. Thanks for sharing, that because that you gave us like a real life, real time example of what the PRP blueprint can do in our lives. And we have to keep doing it at different times, like you said. But the thing is, once we have it there, we know when we're debating and you can say, okay, why am I doing this? It's because of this. And this is not a pattern. Then you go that way. But so let me ask you this, did you notice an increase in your productivity when you started doing that?
Oh, well, 1,000%.
Great.
I'm less tired. I'm adding buffer time. There's another pro tip, right? Adding buffer time to my meetings. So before I had back to back to back to back meetings all day. And then I thought, again, I hit pause,
Right.
right? And I rewind and I'm like, this is not good. I don't have time to prepare for my meetings. I don't have any me time. My dog is jumping on my back. People saw that on Facebook stories, right? But actually, he needed to go out and I'm going live, right? And so,
Right.
I thought about it. I'm like, I need buffer time. I need time to, send a summary to my clients after meeting, but I need that time to eat. I need that time to take a break, to get away from the screen just for a
Right.
little bit,
Right.
and get out and get some fresh air, take in the fresh air and the sunlight, and just take a moment to be grateful. And so, I hit pause, I hit play on that, and it's amazing. I'm taking less meetings, but that's okay because I'm in a better place to serve my clients because of that.
Right, right. So I mean, things like, do I need to say no? It's okay to say no. You're not gonna know that all you need to do is to start saying no if you haven't paused to, rewind, like what's really going on? Why am I not, meeting deadlines? Why am I just frustrated? Why does it feel like I'm not making the money? But when you pause, you're like, there's no buffer. I'm doing my meetings back to back. There's even no time to do this. Okay, what do I need to do? I can't continue this. I need to make a change. Then you make a change, but or I can't continue this really. And in some people's case, they will do everything that you've done and it still won't be working. And that's when you need seek help, seek a professional help, talk to someone. It's okay, it's so we're humans being first. That's why I started with that. And anything could be wrong. Anybody could have issues with their blood pressure or diabetes and or anxiety or depression. It might just be that might be what's holding you back. So if you pause and you rewind, it's not working. Instead of changing some things or continuing what you're doing, yours might be the last one, which is seeking professional help. And you will be glad you did.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm not above, you know, being vulnerable here, and so I have sought out counseling, I have spoken with therapists, and that's okay because I'm worth all of that, and so some people see that as weakness. Oh, there's nothing wrong with me, I'm fine. Sometimes that's a sign that something's wrong, and so it's been immensely helpful to me to be able to vocalize my frustrations, to have that conversation, have lunch, with a peer counselor, and just get some things off my chest. And I feel like, I walk away from the table, not only full from some delicious food from places we ate right here in Texas.
Right?
Everything's bigger in Texas. So
Everything's big.
yeah, and so I get up, but I have this weight lifted off of me because I've had that opportunity to just either bounce that off of someone or have that conversation. And so it's worth a shot. I mean, what are you going to lose, right? I mean, I pretty much put it out here in front of who knows how many people, potentially millions, but I don't care because I know that it works.
You see, anyone who is listening to us right now, and if you have the slightest thought that somebody seeking mental health care is weak or she'll be ashamed or something, I want to challenge you to say you really have to change your mindset. You really have to change your mindset because in this day and age, and I'll tell you, you're not, the vulnerability. It, I hope the movement that I'm joining is moving to joining the team and community of people that will not start that will get to the point where talking about your mental health would not even be coming from like, oh, I'm just being vulnerable here. It's like I need to go see my doctor. I'm going to see my doctor. I'm going to see my therapist. Gen Z people, they're good with that. They put it on there. Because they are helping us come out of that shell because stigma is hurting us. Stigma is killing us, and that's why I'm so glad that you're bringing it out here into the world of entrepreneurs. Because as myself, I'm a professional in the medical field, and I also have my business that I'm building, and I'm also a woman, and I have children, and I have siblings, and I have parents, and you have to function in that role. And I'm just a human being that's got a brain, so if you're out there and if you think that mental health seeking care it's something anyone should be ashamed of, or you look down on someone because they're seeking help, I would say please do have a mindset change.
Yes. Well, I appreciate, everything that you've done today. I appreciate everything you've done, actually, not just today.
Thank
Um,
you.
and so I really care for my audience that much and it just made sense. I believe in giving you guys the truth. I believe in giving you guys the guests that are going to give you like real stuff to help you grow your business, to market correctly. And I know this was a little bit off our regular scheduled programming, but it's necessary, right? And so when you care about somebody, you have those sometimes uncomfortable talks. But I want to see all of you excel, and it is true. I mean, there are some people who want to be a guest on the podcast who don't make the cut, and it's not personal, but I believe in bringing the most value to every episode, to not waste your time, to give you something that you can use, that you can leverage to create a better life for you, your family, your friends, and everyone that you touch. So, I want to thank you again, Dio. I can't say it enough. Hopefully, we can do this again. I would love to. I'm sure there are other topics we haven't even scraped the surface of yet.
Right.
But I would love to have you back again another time.
Anytime you can reach out to me, I'll be honored.
All right. Thank you. So, uh, you guys make sure that you reach out to Dio and, look up My Mental Health Matters. You'll find her show or her live show. It's amazing. It's fantastic. You're not going to regret a minute of it. You're going to love it. And so, again, with that, we're going to head out and see you guys next time.
Thank you.